This program is proudly brought to you by PNG Motors, Gazelle International Hotel, and Telecom Limited.
Good evening. Good to have you back with me on another episode of Sports Scene. I am Jaylee Sapies. Once again, it's always good to have your company. Now, it was a very big weekend of sports, so if you are out, I hope you kept hydrated. Anyway, let's see what's coming up on tonight's show. We speak to POM Elite Basketball Tournament Director Lawrence Lahari about the PEB Grand Final this weekend. We take a closer look at the FIFA Oceania qualifiers that transpired over the weekend, and we witness the inaugural Voda Cup Challenge. But first, let's check out some weekend scorelines. Now, that was our weekend scorelines. Moving on, let's check out some more sports headlines now. AFL PNG hosted a press conference last week for the PNG Mosquitoes and Flames at the Tarama Aquatic Centre ahead of the Pacific Cup in the Sunshine Coast, Australia. The Under-17 AFL PNG Kurrakums have been crowned champions of the Pacific Cup after thrashing Fiji 68 points to 9 at the inaugural Pacific Cup on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. Meanwhile, the Binatangs ended their campaign as runner-up. The Garaho Firelight Sevens will be hosted in Port Moresby from the 13th to the 15th of December 2024. And the Port Moresby Women's Softball Preseason will kickstart this weekend at the Bissini Softball Precinct. The theme will be Strike Out Cancer. Lay Biscuits Power Nines Challenge Cup will be hosted at the Lay Rugby Field from the 18th to the 22nd of December and is for both men and women. And still on Rugby Nines, the Egmark Bougainville Nines will be hosted at the Hamatana Primary School in Buka from the 29th to the 30th of November 2024. This will be the 7th edition. But those are some sporting updates. It's time to go for a break now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more on Sports Scene. Welcome back to Sports Scene. The Port Moresby Elite Basketball Competition will be wrapping up their 2024 season this weekend in Port Moresby. Now, joining me on set tonight to tell me more about this is PEB's Tournament Director, Lawrence Lahari. Lawrence, welcome back to Sports Scene.
Yeah, good night, Jay, and good night to everyone else that's watching this evening.
How's everything going? How's it been?
Yeah, good, Jay. And how about yourself? How's it good? Look, the Port Moresby Elite Basketball League first inaugural season 2024. We got off on a shaky, slow start. But we've come now to the grand final, which is this Sunday, 24th November at the Tarama Aquatic Centre.
And now it's grand final week. What was the actual journey like from planning, preparation to now leading up to this?
Yeah, I think in any sport or any event, when you do run things for the first time or the first competition, we want to make sure we end off with a big bang. We are the Port Moresby Elite Basketball. I must say a big thanks to our sponsors, PNG LNG, Exxon Mobil, and also Tokoba Coffee, but not forgetting the rest of the sponsors of all the teams that have participated as well. A special mention also to Tribes Coffee as well. But yeah, we plan a massive Sunday at the Tarama Aquatic Centre. We are expecting a whole heap of fans come out on Sunday. As we were talking off camera, Jay, the games were held Tuesday and Wednesday nights at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Stadium. And the indoor stadium at Sir John Guy's is, really good facility to host events like this. The TAC is a lot more bigger We expect a bigger crowd. It's during the day. The women's game, 1 p.m., that's between Tribes Coffee and Sifpak Amesi. And the men's game is also between Tribes Coffee and Sifpak Amesi at 3 p.m. Both teams were the early starters. In fact, they signed on when we said we'd start on the competition. They started off first, and here they are right through to the end. Both, actually, Tribes Coffee were undefeated all the way through until the last game, where Sifpak Amesi beat them, and so Amesi, both in the men's and women's, picked up the minor premiership. So, and then Tribes Coffee, both the men's and women's, had to then play a do or die to get back into the grand final. So, both very deservedly should be in the grand final. They have been the two best teams right throughout the season, and looking forward to a really close game.
Yeah, I was going to ask, were the both teams the ones you expected to make it all the way through?
Yeah, they were expected. For the men's, there was really some tight competition. ACL Kings, the dark horse, I put them as. Nice, good bunch of young boys there. Just hopefully they stay together and can be able to build. And Tokoba Coffee, they were more the experienced team. And yeah, they were able to come through and yeah, nearly beat Tribes Coffee in the do or die. For the women's, there was Saints Pirates, which had a lot of the current PNG national rep players there, Rosa Kyrie and Norma Dobunaba. But in saying that, Tribes Coffee also had Janita, who was part of the Solomon Islands Pacific Games last year as well, the PNG team. And then you've got Sifpak Amesi, there's girls in there, Maka Muri, Betty Angula, who were part of the PNG women's basketball team too. So in fact, both Sifpak Amesi and Tribes Coffee have a good sprinkle of the national players in both teams.
Right now, you've mentioned the experienced players. Are there any other standout players for your players to look out for this weekend?
Look, I think what we've done is, as a competition, we've made sure that we've done like what they call a 24-second shot clock in basketball. So in offense, you're only meant to hold the ball for 24 seconds and all shoot it before it expires. And so, as I mentioned, ACL Kings had a good bunch of young boys there that really stood out. Charlie Bradley is one that stood out for me. In the women's, look, I thought Jackie Asiva for Saints Pirates was good. She's been sort of knocking on that door for PNG rep, and I'm sure the selectors would have seen her as well. But there was also a good number of uni students that played both in Tribes Coffee and Sifpak Amesi as part of that. So yeah, I think we were able to unearth a whole heap of talent. So it's just now building on that and making sure we come back with a stronger competition next year.
Right now, back to the actual competition itself. Before the competition started, yeah, I'm sure you set goals for this.
Yeah.
Would you say you've achieved those goals?
Look, I think there's always room for improvement. I wouldn't say we've reached our goal, but what we wanted to do was make sure we run a tight competition that had professionalism. We start on time, we finish on time, and we run what's called the FIBA Oceania, so FIBA basketball rules, sorry, which make sure that games are played in that same level as it is played in the Pacific Games. Yeah, so yeah, I think we're getting there, but there's room for improvement.
Right now, those who are willing to attend the grand final this weekend, what do we need to know? Yeah,
I think get in early. It's 5K and a gate fee. There'll be a checkpoint there at the entrance, and then you walk upstairs. 1 p.m. is the women's game. It's 5K across the board. We're allowing kids, I think under 10 years, free. Okay. But otherwise, it's 5K across the board. 1 p.m. the women's game. 3 p.m. the men's game, and straight after that we'll have the presentation. And we plan to have everything done and dusted by 5 p.m. Enough time for families and young kids to get back on the buses and head back home safely.
All right. Now, before we wrap things up, any acknowledgements?
Yeah, as I said, PNG LNG, ExxonMobil, a big thank you to them. They've been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, we'll do it much more bigger and better next year. And also, yeah, let me make special mention to Tokoba Coffee and also to Tribes Coffee. You know, these are PNG SMEs who are doing fantastic work and massive work in bringing coffee to the world.
Right.
You know, our coffee to the world, Tribes Coffee and Tokoba Coffee. So well done to the guys there. They know who they are. And then, of course, the individual sponsors of each of the clubs, ACL Kings and Northwest Wizards. Everyone's been able to, you know, believe in the league. And yeah, we're just really happy and proud that we've come to the grand final, looking forward to the grand final, and then having a break and then starting all over again. Yeah.
Right. Now, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Lahari. And we will see you this weekend at the TAC.
Please come on down, bring the crew. We'll have some slam dunks, three-pointers. It should be a really good Sunday afternoon.
Definitely. We'll see you there. All right. It's time to go for a break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more on Sports Scene. Welcome back. You are watching Sports Scene. The FIFA Oceania World Cup qualifiers were hosted over the weekend at the PNG Football Stadium. Let's see how that went. The FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers hosted in Port Moresby last weekend concluded with the PNG couples placing last in their pool. Thursday saw the couples play against Fiji, resulting in a 3-all draw, while Sunday's final match witnessed Solomon Islands defeating PNG 2-1, causing the couples to end their campaign on a low note.
Into the area, still Junior David drives, so Junior David, a left foot pile driver out and shot past play for Kabari. Chance here, Rafa Chance here for Solomon Islands. First touch. Has the flag stayed down? Yes, it has. Flag has stayed down. Mikalia Loftus first touch makes it 2-0. Nyamba's ball header there from Tommy Semi. This will be encounter entertaining on the second half Thursday. Papua New Guinea 1, Solomon Islands 2.
Fiji and New Caledonia now advance to the FIFA qualifiers next year against New Zealand. FIFA and New Caledonia now advance to the FIFA qualifiers next year. The couples with 0 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses are ranked 171st on the OFC's world rankings and numbers are expected to drop considering their performance over the weekend.
Maybe emotionally speaking, the team went a little bit down when they see that we were eliminated after the New Caledonia-Fiji game, but I told them that that for me was not an excuse. This game was important for the FIFA ranking. And important because you play at home, you have not played in a long time, you don't know when you're going to play again, and the fans deserve a victory. And I think we were awful in the first half. I am not going to lie about it. There was no intensity. They were winning all the challenge. There were a couple of players that they came into the field for the first time and they didn't do anything. We scored the 2-1 late on the game. It's too difficult to come back. Ati hit one over the crossbar that if he scored that one and then with the one of Tommy, maybe it's a 2-2. But let's be honest, overall Solomon was better. We didn't have clear chances, we didn't create opportunities, we were at it passing, we were bad in winning balls. It was not a good game. And we were not good enough. Yes, bottom line, we played New Caledonia, they were better. We played Fiji and we blew it because I never been part of that kind of situation in my life. You work really hard and in the last 30 seconds people are thinking about fairy tales, or I don't know what the hell they are thinking. And today they were better, so overall we were not a good team and we finished last in the group. New Caledonia was better, Fiji was better, and Solomon was better. Football is like this. When somebody is better than you, you lose. And sometimes even if you are better than them, you lose too. But when you are worse, you always lose. So.
You know, work hard in their own clubs, and comes back to the FA to work more on the grassroots and build the young ones coming up. So and have a professional coach like Boss has mentioned already. So in order for them to learn a lot in football, so when they grow up, there's not going to be any excuse. They already knew what to do. So when it comes to the national team, it's just laughing and play.
I think it's I said to the boys that we owe it to the people that are back home and everybody that supported us, even though the game theoretically doesn't mean anything. But for us, it's super important that we represent the country to the best of our ability, and we needed to get a win today. I think in regards to the formula, it's been there. It's just being able to execute for long periods and finding the right combination of players. So we're starting from the beginning, and this is a great starting point for us now. I think it's an exciting time for Solo with the facilities that they've got. The National Stadium. We've got a really committed group at the moment. A bunch of young players still, back in Solomon's training. With the hope of being in that under-23s team and being able to play in front of the home crowd. And the home crowd it makes such a big difference. I really feel like we probably could have got across the line if we had some matches in this qualification campaign at home. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case. But at the same time, it's a good experience for the boys to learn, how to deal with these environments and opportunities start to bring some young ones through, and we shift our focus now to the Melanesian Cup.
Disappointing news there for our couples, but we can only get better. Now moving on to rugby union, the Vodafone Challenge Cup. First of its kind, and it was hosted last weekend at the NFS. The clash between the CRU Boromas and the Morobe Hammerheads was definitely one to watch. The inaugural Vodafone Challenge Cup between the Capital Rugby Union Boromas and the Morobe Hammerheads transpired on Saturday at the Santos National Football Stadium in Port Moresby. The first of its kind fixture proved to be electric, with CRU's best against Morobe's best. Both teams played their hearts out, and it was evident as the scores remained at 0-0 mid-game. It was only 15 minutes before the end of the first half that the Pom Boys scored the first try of the game. In the second half of this thrilling match, the score remained at 7-0 up until the 21st minute, when the Morobians scored, bringing the scoreline now to 7-all. 6 minutes before full-time, a penalty try was awarded to the Boromas, taking the score 17 points to 7. With the Hammerheads trailing behind, the tension was high. As the full-time whistle blew, the Boromas celebrated as they were announced the 2024 Vodafone Cup Challenge winners. They defeated the Morobe Hammerheads 19 points to 7.
Really hard battle by both teams. Both teams came with two different styles, and I think at the end of the day it came back to who had the most heart. And our boys really pushed. I'm really proud with the boys captaining them on and then raising the inaugural cup. We've got a lot to work on, but we'll just take it one day at a time. Yeah, just because we've got a dynamic group of boys from different clubs, so it's coming together and sort of finding that rhythm was a bit difficult for us. But the boys, because of their heart and their eagerness to learn the game, it all sort of came together in a short period of time.
The boys gelled well together, and when we came here, we came with the intent, coming as the underdogs, but we came here to show plus all the boys now. The show was we came here to play, so regardless of points, the full-time, I'm still impressed now, pleased with the boys' performance. I mean, there's just something with the name Morobe that gets everyone excited to come out and watch, especially in POM. We always enjoy coming down here because we know you come to support us, so I'm happy for all the fans and supporters that came out and supported us. Our biggest challenge today was around the forward pack, especially the scrums. It really showed there. It really showed when we had their forwards moving us, whether it was our scrum or their scrum, they just rolled us. But that's something where we'll go back into Morobe and we'll work on from grassroots level coming up. So that's I think overall that's the biggest challenge for us. It's just scrums. Oh, definitely. I can assure you when we go back now to Morobe, we will work really hard when it comes next year, especially with our downfalls now. All the management and coaching staffs have identified it already. So when it comes to Ama's training, that's where we'll work on. Whatever things we did well now, we'll just improve and build from that.
That was the inaugural Vodafone Challenge Cup, and congrats again to the winners, the CRU Boromas. All right, let's take a break, but when we come back, we wrap things up. Welcome back to Sports Scene. Now let's find out what's trending in the sporting world. Indian wrestler Aman Sarawat, who became India's youngest Olympic medalist at 21 years old, leaves for Japan this week for training until early December. Aman hopes to spar with Paris Olympic gold medalist Rei Higuchi, who handed him a 10-0 thrashing in the Olympics semi-final earlier this year. Following his team's Nations League loss against Honduras, the Mexico men's coach was left bloodied after a full can of beer was thrown at him just after the final whistle blew. Spain tennis legend Rafael Nadal has made a bombshell confession at a press conference this week that he is not sure he will play at the Davis Cup given his limited prep time. India's finest men's badminton doubles pair, Satvik Saraj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty, will return to action after a gap of 3.5 months at this week's 1.15 million China Masters at Shenzhen. And Jake Paul defeated Mike Tyson by unanimous decision. Social media star Jake Paul defeated boxing legend Mike Tyson in a highly anticipated fight with an age difference of over 3 decades between the two contenders. But that is what's trending this week. Now here's a fun fact. On this day in 2004, Roger Federer of Switzerland wins back-to-back season-ending tennis Masters Cup titles with a 6-3, 6-2 victory over Australian Leighton Hewitt in the final in Houston, Texas. And the sports quote for this week, said by Michael Jordan, is "I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Moving on, before we wrap things up, let's see what's coming up this weekend. Right now, before we go, if you have a sports-related story you'd like us to cover, please contact us on 312-9229, or you can Facebook us, email us, or drop by our office at Level 2 Garden City, Boroko, here in Port Moresby. That's a wrap for tonight's show. I hope you enjoyed my company. It's always good to have yours. All right, do join me same time, same place next week right here on your #1 to watch. I am Jaylee Sapies, and this was Sports Scene. Good night for now.
This program was proudly brought to you by PNG Motors, Gazelle International Hotel, and Telecom Limited.